What is up, everybody? Welcome in to the next first look film breakdown here for the college quarterback prospects for the 2024 NFL Draft. Today we're doing Bo Nix, and I can't truly say first look because 5 years ago, at that point in my life, I was able to watch a lot more college football on Saturdays than I can now. As a married man, I got a busy schedule out here. But back in the day, I used to watch a good bit of college football during the season, believe it or not. And I saw some Bo Nix, and this was a wild quarterback that would play out a structure and run around and try to make stuff happen. He won SEC Freshman of the Year somehow over Derek Stingley. Goes to show you how long this guy's been in college football. But all reports are he is a changed man. He plays in structure. He is an NFL caliber quarterback. And my expectations for what we're going to see here today are relatively high, that I'm going to walk out of this seeing a first round caliber quarterback. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's have some fun. Please do hit that like button. I really appreciate it. And make sure you subscribe, because we're going to be doing Michael Penix hopefully next week here. Another vetted college quarterback with some hype and expectations. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that. And let's get started. So here we go. First look at Bo Nix, former SEC Freshman of the Year. First play here, very basic RPO, sucks in the linebackers there. We'll see how much of this Oregon does. I don't know that I'll include every single RPO if it's a lot of them, but it's definitely good to know that he can execute this stuff as most quarterbacks are expected to. This next play by Oregon is very good scheming to make things look a little easier for Bo Nix here. It's an expected outcome from Bo Nix from, does he impress me on this play? No. But very good use of the pre-snap motion to kind of get you, man-to-man. You got man-to-man here. Good play design on the stop route. And just good timing by Bo Nix. Good understanding of the offense, but nothing special. But it's not all gimmicks, man. This next throw is an NFL throw. This guy's going to run a stutter, go, comeback here. Nix is going to read this out as man coverage and just puts this thing on the money on the back shoulder. You want to see these balls out before the break. Release now. Break is like 3 strides later. Just great anticipation. Clear chemistry with his wide receiver. And depth on the target, too. This ball's going from the 40 to the 30, so that's a good 30-yard completion. That's using the arm talent, getting some explosive plays. This next one doesn't do much for me. It's not a negative on Bo Nix, but it's just nothing to really give him a positive on. He's just, first read comes wide open on some busted-ass zone coverage from Utah. And then this next one's a pretty college-y play as well here. We're going to fake the screen, and then we're really just making sure this tight end can execute a fake block slant to just create a step of separation, and he does. And then Bo Nix, the throw is actually probably even a tick behind. So again, it's simple execution. This is college-y stuff. It's not that NFL offenses won't do this stuff, but that to me is an expected throw from your quarterback into a first read. Now, he's doing a good job of mixing in good NFL caliber throws with some of this college-y type production. Now, that ball needs to be caught, but let's go back and see what Bo Nix is looking at here. So, a lot of teams, when they run quarters, are going to have these guys more at like 8 or 10-yard depths, and this is quarters. Very clear pre-snap quarters tell just by the alignment here. But the main reason you don't press or go up in these guys' face in quarters is because if anything is threatening these two safeties vertical, which Oregon is basically running 4 verticals here, this is essentially going to play out like a zero coverage on the outside without the blitzing element. So you're really leaving these corners on an island. They have pre-snap confusion as well. And even if they're showing cover 2 or trying to show cover 2 with the quick snap here, Nix is going to look at this honey hole against 4 verts. So what Nix is looking at here, and then I like the anticipation. That ball's out now. He knows he's going to have a step. it's these little things where some quarterbacks will wait till now to throw it. That ball's already out, right? Now, the placement, I think, is pretty good. We can check the other angle on this. He floats it to the outside, away from the safety. I get why he throws it there. That ball just has to be caught. That's a bit, that will go down as a highly graded, big-time NFL throw for Bo Nix and a good read. But that's why you watch the film. Sometimes you get college-y production that does nothing for you from an NFL evaluation standpoint. Sometimes you drop a dime, receiver drops it, and it doesn't show up in the box score. But this next play is very nice from Bo Nix. This is a disguised, rotating, almost Fangio-style split safety coverage from Utah here. Pre-snap showing probably, cover 4 or cover 2. But they're actually going to rotate into cover 6. So you're going to have quarters on this side of the field. This guy's going to drop back into a deep half. And this guy just stays exactly flat into a cover 2. So how this is going to work is this guy's going to match right here on him. And then this guy has permission to kind of lurk to the first incoming threat over here. So how this thing is going to play out is Nix, I think, does read this out. You see his eyes at his drop, sees the rotation, and I think he might even know how these rules are going to play out once he sees cover 6. It's hard to speculate on stuff like that. Maybe he thought it was cover 3. Who the hell knows? But what he does know is that there's going to be some space here with this safety dropping because this guy is going to be eyes on the first threat from that side of the field, and this space right here is going to open up. So he is throwing into space. He's throwing it with anticipation. You can see the throw has begun. He's targeting this window right here, right on the money. That is a big-time NFL throw right there. Just one more look at the accuracy, the timing. That's beautiful. Now, I'm going to run this next play, and as far as how things play out, it's bad defense by Utah. It's nothing special, but I want you to see what Bo Nix does before the snap here. This is a guy that's been in college football for 5 years. He's learned a lot. He has transferred schools. He's played in different systems. And he's anticipating the blitz here. He's moving the back. That's almost a full-on hot route, I can imagine. The receiver ends up, that's not just him setting his protection, saying, hey, you got to pick up the mic or whatever. He's saying, let's run a wheel route into the blitz. I don't know exactly if that's a true, hot route, like Madden style there. But that is incredible pre-snap handling of a blitz that you just don't see from a lot of college quarterbacks. So I'm very much impressed by that aspect. Then we got to fast forward to their next red zone trip, and very, very similar. Now, a lot going on here, honestly. I see the wheel route after the check from Bo Nix, and I think this is just a complete audible from Bo Nix, changing the play to what to me looks like the exact same play, clearing out against the blitz with this wheel route out of the backfield. So I think it is probably the same exact check. For one, you just don't see a lot of true audibles in college football. So I think it's really cool that Oregon has that, and he has the power to make that check. But then Utah, I think, is checking out of it, the chess match that is football. So they check out of it, but the wheel route is still there. Bo Nix takes it and gets a few yardage out of it. But definitely a little bit of mental games going on, which you just don't see from a lot of these, college quarterback film rooms. I think it's pretty cool to see that. And it's not just fun. That stuff really matters and is a rarity in the current NFL landscape, to have a guy that can step in and do that stuff. Okay, a lot going on here. This is an RPO. He pulls it. O-line's run blocking. First read's going to be to throw the flat here, but this guy takes it, and then you've got kind of this guy running a little, oh, I'm blocking you. No, I'm not. So there are kind of two reads here going on, and Nix does a really good job managing this thing. And I've talked about this throughout this season, how you would expect most quarterbacks to be good on these RPOs, and to be able to kind of not throw into jumping defenders and change your arm angles and find this stuff. But in reality, not everybody has these instincts on these types of plays, and I think this is just a good check in the sort of RPO / point guard category for Bo Nix. Like, you know who he's kind of making me feel like right now is Brock Purdy, who's already as good as anybody at doing this kind of stuff on these kind of schemed up plays. So this, I think, is the exact same play we saw in the Drake May film room, which, by the way, if you haven't seen it, go check out my Drake May film room. But this is a cool play that I like, where you try to isolate someone on this side and just kind of run a little stop route and see if it's open. And then if it's not, we're going to run just kind of your classic play action boots, where you're going to have this type of action one way or another. But because Oregon is in tight press coverage, Bo Nix probably knows pre-snap that it's not going to be there, and that's fine. But Utah is ready for this. They blitz around the down blocker, right? Because you're going to have the tight end motion over and down block so that hopefully you can create a clean, naked boot. This is a vintage play. But Oregon does a really good job to blitz around it and kind of screws up this entire play. So Nix does a good job right away to recognize this is a broken play. And this is what I would categorize, if I were grading this play for Pro Football Focus, this is what you would categorize as a safe throwaway, in my opinion, where it's a busted play. He's trying to avoid a negative, which I really appreciate. But hey, there's some space over there. I've got a receiver running a comeback. I've got a guy running a underneath crossing route type of deal. Let's float it out there. Don't have a whole lot of time to throw an accurate ball. I wouldn't hold that against him as an inaccurate throw. I think he's avoiding a negative, and maybe he can complete that thing. I actually like this play from Bo Nix. This is the type of stuff that NFL quarterbacks need to do at the next level to avoid a negative and potentially create a positive. And then they end up getting a penalty on the end here. Not quite sure. Maybe a hold on the tackle, on the tight end there. And it was a hold, so they get backed up pretty bad. They're going to try to run it to create, second and manageable. And then on second down, still trying to make it third and more manageable. Bo Nix is kind of taking his quick flare route there. I think situationally, I'm okay with this. I think this is probably what the coach had intended for this. After you get backed up, let's try to get back ahead of the chains. You're reading the pre-snap leverage here. This linebacker is going to be in a tough spot to make this play, knowing with single high here, this is either going to be cover 3 or cover 1. It doesn't really matter. The reality is, as long as this guy follows him, you're going to hit this running back, get into third and manageable. It's exactly what they do. They get 5 yards out of it. I think that was the intention on the play. This isn't really a check down. This is the running back as a part of the progression there. It's important to note that difference. So we get to the 3rd and 5, and Utah's getting back into kind of what I know Utah defense to be, and that's, cover 3. This guy's going to be in the curl flat, eyes on him, probably matching it up. And what I don't like what Oregon does here is they run an out and up, but they have this receiver running about 2.5 yards short of the sticks. And Nix pulls the trigger on that, and then they rally and tackle on him. It's hard for me to put that on Nix, right? That's his first read. It's technically open. But throwing the ball short of the sticks, hoping this guy can make the guy miss and get the first down. To me, that would be a 0 throw. It's not a negative throw, but it's certainly not a positive. It's hard to really hold it against him too much, because if I'm Oregon, I want that guy running to the sticks. Does a Joe Burrow or, an Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, do they see that the leverage isn't there? Do they take a second hitch and then look back to your deeper developing routes and see that this guy's running a comebacker? I mean, yeah, very much possible there. So everything we've seen from Nix has been within the structure of the first read. Still looking to see a little bit more beyond that. But again, that would be like a 0 graded play, which is neither a positive or a negative. Okay, we're forcing it a little bit on this one from Bo Nix. Again, kind of zeroing in on what he thinks he's going to get pre-snap. Very lousy route from the wide receiver. It would help if the wide receiver won on this route, but he doesn't, and Bo Nix forces it. That is on Bo Nix to some degree. What we end up getting here is cover 2. This guy's going to play the flat, and you'll notice when I play it, he turns his eyes inside to see if this guy pulls an out route, because this guy's running a go ball. He's got it with to the field side. He has to protect that honey hole because this safety just can't get out there in time. So he's going to carry it and make sure that this guy isn't threatening to the flat. So the play design isn't great against this coverage because, this guy ends up running an in route and this DB plays it really well. I would just say, Bo Nix, I want to see a little bit more improvisational stuff. I know when he was at Auburn, that was like all he did, and he never really played in structure. I'm starting to think a little bit now, like, is he playing 2 in structure and assuming things are going to be there? Because things aren't always going to be there in the NFL, right? So it's finding that natural balance that's so tough to find with these quarterbacks. There's no second hitch here. There's no acknowledgement, crap, this guy's covered up. There's no, oh, dang, that's a lot of space. Let me roll out and see what I can find there. So this play is a little bit concerning for me from Nix. So Utah's been showing a lot of cover 3 lately, right? And pre-snap again, we're getting a cover 3 look, or at least single high. And Oregon says, all right, well, let's read these safeties and see if we can hit a little comeback action here. And that's what Bo Nix does here. Reads the safety drops into single high, and he's going to throw the comebacker. And he throws it with outside leverage. I don't mind the ball placement there. This ball probably could have been caught. What could be a little bit better here is the timing. I think he takes an extra hitch here. And what do I always talk about? If you're throwing a comebacker, which this is about as clear of a decision to throw the comebacker as you're going to get, I want that ball out as soon as possible, and preferably before the receiver begins his break and lets the DB know that this is a comebacker. And when you watch Nix's footwork, a little bit of an extra hitch there. I think you can hit the top of your drop here. Boom, 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 fire. I think there's an extra step right there. So just speed it up just a tiny bit, and I think that ball's probably completed. But overall, this is sound, structure play by Bo Nix. Okay, more cover 3 from Utah, or at least single high, and this is really what they're known for. So Oregon's got a good game plan for this. They're going to actually have this guy on a deep in-breaker, and hard to say for sure if this is cover 1 or cover 3. The reason I say I'm not entirely sure is because if this is true cover 3, I don't know what the hell this linebacker's doing here, if it's a spy or a delayed blitz. But anyway, it doesn't really matter to Bo Nix. It's all going to play out the same. This guy's either a curl flat or man-to-man on the running back here. And all he's doing is reading the space here. So he does check the safety pre-snap to make sure there's no late rotation into quarters, or to make sure that, this safety is not buzzing over to cut off the in-breaker. But otherwise, he's throwing this with really good anticipation into the second level on time. I want to see the other angle of it too, just to make sure we're not missing anything here. But this is a good NFL throw. I think the velocity's pretty good. Like, I think he's just got a solid arm. I haven't seen anything from him throughout his career that tells me he's got a missile or anything. But if he's playing on time like this, he's throwing the ball mostly accurate here, hits him right in his chest. It's a good plus throw. Good NFL throw from Nix. Very similar story on this next one. You don't need me to break out the pens and analysis on this one. Same deal, single high, read the safety, throw the comebacker once this guy clears out. And again, just a drop. Timing could be better again. It's pretty good. He's begun his release. But if he doesn't have a missile of an arm, you always want to have the best timing possible. I think there's, again, just a slight pause. Like, we're talking about a tenth of a second wasted that could be a little bit more precise from Nix, but still a plus throw, an NFL read, will play at the next level, and room for coaching points, room for growth that will probably get there at the next level. Ball's got to be caught. So Oregon's taken something out of the Justin Herbert LA Chargers playbook here, the former Oregon Duck. This is a vintage like Justin Herbert throw. They'll roll him out and then sneak someone out the backside like this and hope that the coverage busts. A lot of times it does. Now here, Utah, very sound defense, is ready for it. I think he does an okay job here to just kind of lead him very deep. What I would love to see is a bit of a reactionary adjustment to this when he sees this defender ready for it. Lead him upfield a little bit more, split these safeties, put the ball in this territory a little bit more. He also doesn't step into it here. He throws a little bit of a fadeaway here. And I think like right there, he just is a little bit wonky with it. So, like, I don't hate what he does here, but I think it probably could have been completed by a better footwork, better placement, and potentially a stronger arm. He's kind of not half-assing it, but almost like lame-assing it. Like, he leads it out here. I was saying put the ball upfield, but maybe he doesn't have the faith that he can fire it up there, right, off platform. It's just a note. It's a very high difficulty throw, and I don't think we're drafting Bo Nix to hit that throw. But it's also notable that, like, okay, he didn't hit that throw. You know what I'm saying? This next throw is big time, man. Utah kind of anticipating cover 2 here. They get it, right? Flat defender. And then what Utah is going to do here is they're going to have this guy run kind of a deep corner route, running this guy to the flat to try and occupy the corner here. But Nix throws the perfect ball here. Let it run. Doesn't throw him into trouble here, where this corner is drifting, but there is space here. And he also is checking the safety to see how his leverage looks. And he throws this essentially perfect. This angle is going to do this justice if the cameraman was paying attention. But as we saw, he threw it. The other angle is going to be better here. He threw it really away from the zone defender. That's difficult, high-thinking quarterback stuff right there. Recognizes the coverage, knows what he needs to do with the football. Doesn't just predetermine this thing and say, all right, let's go corner route against cover 2 and fire it towards the sideline. And he's also not immediately settling for the dump down either on third down there. I don't know if you're going to see that or not, but it's third down. A little fuzzy. But I'm just, push the ball down the sticks on third down. And he's got an option to do it. He puts it like right there. I really like that ability to break that thing down from Bo Nix. So we're up big now. It's 28-6. Pressure gets in here off of play action and just cool, calm, and collected. Finds his check down. Nice little run after catch here by the back. This dude's a pro prospect, I believe, with my limited college football knowledge at this point in the season. Very good. Nothing was open downfield. Deep developing, play action shot type. It's everything you can ask of your quarterback there. Just good knowledge of where your check down is, and very nice. So Oregon knows they're up 22 late in the game. They know Utah's probably going to get into their single high stuff. Probably cover 3, knowing Utah's tendencies, and it is cover 3 press. And they know that these guys are going to match on the outside. So what do? They get into their Shanahan package and start breaking out all the cover 3 Shanahan beaters, which is good to see Bo Nix execute that stuff. But you're going to basically run a clear out, an alert on the deep post, and then these in breakers, as long as this guy matches, which he's going to end up doing, you're going to have a hell of a lot of space over here. So this is a classic NFL play-action shot concept. It's there. Bo Nix knows it's there. Now, this isn't what you would say is a second read play. He stays on his first read the whole time, but he does do a good job of managing the rush to pull this thing off, right? You can see his eyes are still throughout the process of that first read. He never leaves the structure of the play there, even if he's forced to move off platform. So I love the ability to sense that rush, to step up, to stay composed, to still hit it. The reason I'm bringing that up is throughout this game, we have yet to see him really throw a second read throw. He hasn't had to a ton, but there were a couple plays we talked about earlier that maybe he could have. So it's still something I'm looking for, but I still love to see that he's able to manage a rush. The right tackle gets beat. He steps up, completes the throw. Could have let him a little bit more, but gets the job done, right? We're definitely talking about a positively graded NFL read and throw here. The whole second read thing is just something that I'm still looking for in his tape. It's more of a note than anything. Then we're even later in this game, we got a 3rd and 3, and the right tackle's having a bad day at this point. Gives up a very quick pressure. No time for Nix on a bunch of deep developing routes to really find anything here. He's trying to get the ball to his check down, up big, late, not trying to make any big mistakes. And he ends up just dirting it, punt the ball away, live to see another play. I think that's, again, good management of the rush when it gets in. So we're still letting this thing rip here. This plays out a little bit interesting here. It's cover 3 by Utah. Surprise, surprise. I'll let you see what happens. But let's go back a second here. So when they motion, you can actually see right there. This guy tells him, you go be the deep third. This guy stays put as the deep third, and this guy's matching up as the deep third. And then running a couple of in-breakers and going to just kind of feel out this space and probably hit this backside post as he's done before. So plays out interestingly with the pass off there, but at the end of the day, Bo Nix, I think, throws a really good ball here, gets a clean pocket. That's his first read. He's reading the safety, sees cover 3. Now, this is why accuracy can be, like those accuracy charts and stuff that you see, can be so tough, because to me, this is a wide receiver error. I think Nix wants the receiver in this space, and he kind of just stops. So that is kind of like a miscommunication type deal. But to me, I think that's where you probably want that ball. So you want that wide receiver, a little bit of a coaching point there. But I still think Nix is showing, like, when he knows what coverage he's getting, when you've got a good play on, he can play within that structure very well. We're just waiting to see a little bit more, like, when things go wrong, what can he add beyond that? And with that in mind, I decided to pull up his Washington State film and see if we saw some of that. And it took about 3 plays to see that against a different defense, 2-man, 3-man rush. Basically, everyone's in contain. And this time, Nix knows he's got a little extra time. Comes all the way to the backside. And that's a heck of a throw, man. Really lets it rip. To the most of his abilities. It still is not a rocket arm or anything here. But I like to see this, managing a 3-man rush is important. And not just forcing things, understanding when you have time to make something happen. So it's really good to know that it's in there. He does it again on this play, down in the red zone, where oftentimes you need to be able to use your feet, scramble, open up some throwing windows, shows off the ability to extend this play, and then right before he gets hit, man, that's not a horrible look, dude. It's kind of one of those safe throwaways we talked about earlier. Kind of gave his receiver a chance. Again, I just want to know that this stuff's in there. because he was so good at this at Auburn, but that's all he did. So, it's going to be, as we get through, and try to see what else we see in this game, but the rest of his tape as well, it's going to be about, finding that balance. You need to be able to play in structure, but if you're going to be a top quarterback and even like a top 10 drafted quarterback, I do want to see you like adding stuff with your athleticism out of structure. And I think, this is good improvisational skills. Could you argue? I mean, no, he's getting hit. It's a safe throwaway, but actually kind of gave his receiver a chance. Kind of does it again here, too. Fairly similar to the play against Utah, where he's mostly still on his first read, but he does eventually kind of enter true scramble drill. He looks down at his check down. He's pointing fingers. He's like, truly entering scramble drill situation. Gets a little bit of something out of it. So again, if he has found that balance between Auburn, Bo Nix, and, the guy that we've seen in this film breakdown where he really does play well in structure, you are talking about someone that will absolutely be a quality quarterback at the NFL level. We get it again on this play. First read's not there. He pump fakes it, enters scramble drill. The only thing left to really say is that nothing I've shown here quite yet is like taking a second hitch, getting to a second progression, delivering that aspect. So again, that's something to continue looking for as I get through his games, but at least you're seeing improvisational ability still there. He hasn't turned into a robot through different coaching and trying to weed out the guy that he used to be at Auburn. And why not just end this film breakdown with an absolute dot, back shoulder, cross hash, just showing a little bit more nice accuracy and touch here on the way out. Some good arm talent. So look, this is an NFL quarterback. This is a guy that I think clearly has a understanding of coverages, where the ball needs to go. I love that he has avoided negative plays. He, will take his check down. He'll throw the ball away into the dirt. He'll step up and avoid the rush when it's there. He, on top of that, I think when we took a second look at that Washington State game, can improvise, won't always force things. There was the play in the Utah game where he did force something on what was kind of the one predetermined read. It's hard to find a college quarterback that is truly perfect. That's Joe Burrow from a reads and decision-making perspective. Still have yet to see anything really like that, but you are very much seeing a guy that if you give him the structure, receivers open, more often than not, he's going to hit it, and he's not going to force it, and he's not going to give you negative plays. What I think I still have yet to see, and what I'm definitely going to look for in whatever remaining Bo Nix games that I watch, is can he see that it's not there, take a second hitch, and see the rest of the field. I think that is what is left to be desired here. I'm not saying he can't do that. It's just in the games that I watched here, and I did get through Washington State, I just didn't really show it to you for time's sake. I have yet to really see that. So that's what I'm going to be looking for, because if that's there, you're talking about, elite pocket quarterbacking. But he reminds me a lot of Brock Purdy in terms of physical tools. I think he's a plus athlete. Okay, I mean, he's probably got a little bit of a better arm, but not by much. And I think Purdy, likewise, is like, give him the structure. It's going to be on time. Maybe a mistake here, a mistake there, a forced throw here, a forced throw there, and then some improvisational playmaking, which I know is there from what I watched from him at Auburn. But it's just so encouraging to see the on-time stuff and the rhythm in structure stuff here at Oregon. And a lot of NFL throws there and good deep ball placement. So I do see an NFL quarterback. I see why he's also not like being projected top 5 or anything like that. There's probably some limitations there, right? But I could definitely see this guy going in the first round and being maybe like a better version of like Kenny Pickett in some ways, someone that does go in the first round, Mac Jones, and give him a better situation than maybe Pickett or Mac Jones has had, and maybe you do end up with something closer to like what Brock Purdy's doing or what Tua's doing in Miami, So I think those are kind of your early pro comps for Bo Nix, and I would say I'm relatively impressed, though the bar was fairly high because I know people are really saying he's turned into a hell of a prospect. So there's your Bo Nix analysis. I really hope you guys enjoyed. We are on to Michael Penix next, so make sure you're subscribed. Hopefully next week on that one. Like the video on the way out if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you later. Peace out.